Hello everyone. So in this session, we are going to discuss about the Dock Workers Safety, Health and Welfare Act 1986. So under the Safety, Health, Environmental legislations, that is various acts and rules are present. Under these various acts and rules which are related to the safety, health and welfare, one of the main act is and the oldest act is the Dock Workers Act 1986. So there are 25 sections under this Dock Workers Act 1986. The section 1 is related to the short title, extent, commencement and applications. 2 is related to the definition. 3rd is related to the inspector. 4th one is power of inspector. Then power of inspector where employment of dock workers are dangerous. Then facilities to be afforded to an inspector. Restrictions on disclosure of information. Appeal. Advisory committee. Power of appropriate government to direct inquiry into cases of accident or diseases. Then obligations of dock workers. Power of exempt. Protection of actions taken in good faith. Then penalties, determination of the persons responsible for the offense in certain cases. Then power of court to make orders, provisions relating to the jurisdictions, provisions regarding the fine, then general provisions for punishment for other offenses, then power to make rules, power to make regulations, then general provisions related to the rules and regulations, then Amendment Act 9 of 1948, repeal and savings. So these are the 25 sections which are involved under this Dock Workers Act 1986. So we will go through one by one. So this is first one, short title, extent, commencement and application. So it is as usual, it is extends to the whole of India and it shall come into force from the date of official gazette publications. Then the second one is definitions. So various definitions are involved under this second section, like appropriate government, chief inspector, then dock worker, employer, employer person, etc. So some of the definitions are the general definitions or the simple logical definitions. New definitions or the important definition as per as this Dock Worker Act is concerned is that is cargo. So cargo includes anything carried out or to be carried in a ship or other vessels. So whatever you are going to carry out in a ship or in other vessels, that is called as cargo. Then it is dock workers rules. So we must know what exactly the definition of dock work is. So this means any work in or within the vicinity of any port in connection with or required for or incidental to the loading, unloading, movement or storage of cargoes into or from the ship or the vessel, port, dock, storage or landing place, and includes work in connection with the preparation of ships or other vessels, chipping, painting or cleaning of any hold, tank, structure or lifting machinery or any other storage area in board the ship or in the docks. So this is the dock work, right? So it is related to the cargo, that is the materials or the things which are carried out by the ships. So that is why the main operations are loading and unloading. So while loading and unloading, there are various movements, like for storing that materials, for unloading that materials, we required some cranes, we required some storage place, we required some specific space or area for a particular material, because some materials may be heavy, some materials may be like containers, some materials may be more in length or in height, likewise. So we have to decide the exact place for the storage. We have to decide the exact instruments, equipments, and the vehicles which are required for this loading and unloading activities. So whatever the activities, that may be a cleaning activity, painting activity, chipping activity related to the tank structure and the lifting machineries, all these activities are covered under this dock work. And whatever the activities which are carried out by these employees are called as dock worker. So here the definition is dock worker. Then the ultimate control of all these activities covered under a single person, or maybe a partner firm, or maybe a big organization likewise. So maybe a director. So all these persons who are having the ultimate control on this dock is called as employer. And the main employer is a principal employer, who is going to have these responsibilities, that may be loading, unloading activities in case of any accidents or any incident is happen. So principal employer is responsible for that work. Then regulations. So regulation means a regulation under this act. So these are the different definitions under the section 2. Then section 3 is related to the inspectors. So that appropriate government is going to finalize the person who is capable, who is fit for that particular activity, who can supervise, observe, and control all these dock work activities. So that person can be appointed as a inspector. So all these inspector are covered under the chief inspector. The chief inspector is the main authority for these dock work activities. And chief inspector is going to give the authority, responsibilities, and some of the powers to the inspector for the inspection supervision purpose, to reduce the hazard, to reduce the risk, to have a look for the safety operations, whether the employees are following the safety practices or not. So all these things are done by that inspector with the guidance of chief inspector. Then section 4 is related to the power of inspectors. So what exactly the power of inspectors are? So that inspector can enter with such assistance as he thinks fit any ship or dock, warehouse, or other premises where any dock worker is being carried out. So the inspector can enter anywhere on the ships or docks or warehouses or whatever the area which is covered under this Dock Workers Act. Then he can make examination of the ship, dock lifting machineries, cargo, gear, then stagings, transport equipment, warehouses, etc. It require the production of any register, muster roll, or other document relating to the employment of dock workers. So he can check the registers, whether how many employment is under this dock or this ship for this purpose, and how many are required, how many are present, is there any gap or any other things are observed by that inspector, so that can be communicated to the chief inspector. Take the spot or otherwise such evidence of any person which he may deem necessary. So he can ask, he can communicate to any person which is present on the dock. Then he can take copies of registers, records, or other documents or portions thereof as he may consider relevant. So he may take the photograph or copy of 1 page, 2 page, 3 page, or total register. So what exactly he thinks that it is a correct one, so that copies can be carried out by that inspector. He can take photograph, sketch, sample, measure, or record as he may consider necessary for the purpose of examination. Hold an inquiry into the causes of accident. In case of any accident is happen, then he can go for the inquiries which is related to the results of collapse or the failure of lifting machinery, transport equipment, staging or non-compliance with any of the provisions of this act of the regulations. Then issues show cause notice, that is relating to the safety, health and welfare provisions. So if anyone is not following these safety, health, welfare provisions, then he can issue a show cause notice to that person or to the company. Prosecute, conduct or defend before any court any complaint or any other proceedings arising under this act or regulations. Exercise such other powers as may be conferred upon him by the regulations. So there are various powers of the inspector which is mentioned under this section 4. Then section 5 is related to the power of inspector, where employment of dock workers are dangerous. So if the inspector is found that this operation is very dangerous for that particular dock worker, then he can communicate these conditions, dangerous conditions, which is related to the dock worker, to the chief inspector. And if the chief inspector and inspector decides that this dangerous operation can be cancelled or should be cancelled, then that operation can be cancelled out, or we can minimize or reduce the risk of danger from that operations. Then rule number 6 is section number 6 is related to the facilities to be afforded to an inspector. So whatever the facilities are given to the inspector from the chief inspector or from the appropriate government, that should be afforded to that inspector. Then 7 is related to the restrictions on disclosure of information. So we have discussed various powers of that inspector, that he can or she can enter anywhere on the ship's dock, warehouses, etc. He can take the photograph, he can take the copies or xerox, or he can make the videos nowadays, etc. on that particular location or in that area. But there is a restriction that before going to disclose any type of information to any person or to other companies, etc., that permission of the chief inspector should be recommended, because this confidential area or these confidential data or the confidential processes or some facilities should not be disclosed to any person without the permission of the chief inspector. So that is the restrictions on disclosure of information to the inspector, which is given under section 7. Then section 8 is related to the appeal. So any person aggrieved by an order under section 5 may within 15 days from the date on which the order is communicated to him prefer to appeal to the chief inspector. So any person can appeal to the chief inspector within 15 days, and within 15 days, if the chief inspector thinks that the appeal is valid, then the chief inspector is going to answer that appeal. And section 9 is related to the advisory committee. So for this purpose, that is for the dock workers' safety, health and welfare practices and facilities, etc., there is an advisory committee in which the equal number of appropriate government, the dock workers and the employers of dock workers and shipping companies are there. So the appointment of these equal number of all these fields like government, dock workers and the shipping companies or the employers of dock workers should be considered. So chairman is obviously the representative from the appropriate government, and other members are from the dock workers and the different companies. So the chairman is going to guide all the members what exactly has to be done, what is to be followed, what is to be not followed. Then section 10 is related to the power of appropriate government to direct inquiry into case of accidents or diseases. So if in case while handling these materials, while handling these containers, or while handling these different or various materials, while loading or unloading, while lifting machinery, or while using these cranes, etc., then there is a power of appropriate government to direct this inquiry into the cases of accidents. In case if any diseases are there to the dock workers, then also there is a power to appropriate government to direct the inquiry. So in the inquiries, the person appointed to hold an inquiry under this section shall have the powers of civil court under the Code of Civil Procedure 1908. So with reference to the Indian Penal Code 45 of 1860, section 176, the person who is going to inquire all these accidents or accident or the diseases, whatever it may be. So that person who is appointed by the government and with reference to this Code of Civil Procedure is going to inquire each and everything at micro level to investigate that accident or to investigate that diseases to avoid the repetition of these accidents or the diseases in future on the same dock or the similar dock activities on the other docks. Then section 11 is related to the obligations of dock workers. So no dock worker shall willfully interfere with or misuse any appliance, convenience or other things provided in connection with any dock work for the purpose of securing health, safety and welfare of dock workers. So our focus is on the safety, health and welfare of the dock workers. So no misuse, no inconvenience, no appliances should be used to distract this intention of safety, health and welfare of the dock workers. And willfully and without reasonable cause do anything likely to endanger himself or others. Willfully neglect to make use of appliances, convenience or other thing provided in connection with any dock work for the purpose of securing and health, safety and welfare of the dock workers. So in the obligations itself, it is clearly mentioned that our main focus is on the safety, health and welfare of the dock workers. In case if any worker contravenes any of the provisions, he shall be punishable with the imprisonment for a term which may extend to 3 months or with fine which may extend to 100 rupees or with both. So it is the 1986 Act, that is why the fine is 100 rupees. Nowadays that fine is more. So here it is clearly one of the provision that if the dock worker is not obeying these facts of the section 11, then there may be a imprisonment or the fine or the both. Then section 12 is related to the power to exempt. So any appropriate government may decide the exemptions cases like any port or place, dock, wharf, quay or similar premises. If the government is satisfied, the dock worker is only occasionally carried out or the traffic is small and confined to small ships and fishing vessels at such port, dock, wharf, quay or similar premises. So this is one of the exemption case that appropriate government can exempt these things from this Dock Workers Act, that if the dock work is occasional, if the dock work is having a small traffic or confined to small ships related to the fishing vessels at such port, dock, wharf, quay or similar premises, the provision is there for the exemption case. The second one is if any ship or the class of ships having regard to the features of such ships, the nature, quantum and periodicity of dock worker carried thereon and all other relevant factors, then also the appropriate government can take a decision of exemptions of the acts or the sections related to that. So depending on the features of ships depending on the traffic of the ship, depending on the activities, whether it is occasional one or the more frequency is there. So depending on these conditions, appropriate government can take the decisions. Then section 13 is related to the protection of action taken in good faith. So if someone is not obeying the facts or the acts or the sections, but if it is in the good faith and it is done in the good intention, then that should be exempted from the punishment. Then 14 is related to the penalties. So there are various penalties. One of the penalties I have mentioned in the previous section. Now in this case, whoever willfully obstructs an inspector. So if this is the case, that obstruction is there in the inspector duties or the exercises, then there may be a penalty, right? In case, unless duly authorized or in case necessary, removes any fencing, gangways, gear, ladder, life-saving means or appliances, light, mark, stage or other things required to be provided by the regulations, in that case also there may be a punishments or the penalties. So what penalties are there? So penalties may be up to 6 months imprisonment or with fine of 500 rupees or both. In case of any fatal accidents or in case of any a type of accidents where the incapacities of a dock worker from earnings his full wages for more than a fortnight, then the punishment may be a 6 months imprisonment or with fine not less than 200 rupees that can be extended up to 500 rupees. So depending on the conditions of disobeying the actions or the sections and the conditions of the accidents, these penalty provision is there under section 14. Then under section 15, the determination of the persons responsible for the offense in certain cases. So the responsible person may be a partner in case of firm, maybe the member in case of association, and maybe a director in case of a company. So whatever the punishment, penalties, offenses, etc. Are there in the above sections. So the punishable person or the responsible person may be a partner, maybe a member of association or a member, a director of the company. Then section 16 is related to the power of court to make the orders. So we all know that court is having the powers to make the orders of above sections which is discussed. That may be for the offenses, maybe penalties, punishments, or some show cause notice, etc. Then section 17 is related to the provisions relating to the jurisdictions. So no court inferior to that of metropolitan magistrate or a magistrate of the first class shall try any offense under this act or the regulations. So there are specific references of Code of Criminal Procedures 1973 and 2 of 1973, and in some of the cases like offenses punishable with the fines, that may be a 6 months from the date of offense, or that may be a 1 year from the date of offense, or some combinations or some other practices also. So that is depending on the jurisdiction part. So that these are the different provisions relating to the jurisdictions. Then section 18 is related to the provisions regarding the fines. So we have mentioned most of the fines under these penalties sections. The 19 is related to the general provisions for punishment for other offenses. So these also we have mentioned under the above sections. Then rule number 20 is related to the power to make rules. So that appropriate government can make the different rules relating to the different points. The manner in which the inspector is to exercise the power, then the inspection of premises, of ships, the manner of services, of orders made under this act, the term of office and the other conditions of service of members of the advisory committee, the procedure at inquiries under section 10, any other matter which is to be provided for the rules. So these are the different parameters with reference to that. There is a provision of power to make rules under this section 20. Now section 21 is important as far as the regulations are concerned. So here it is a power to make regulations. Under section 20, it is power to make rules. Now it is power to make regulations. So appropriate government can make the different rules mentioning clearly the focus of safety, health, and welfare of the dock workers. So the parameters may be like providing for the general requirement relating to the construction, then equipment, maintenance for the safety of working place, on shore, ship, dock, structure, other places at which any dock work is carried out. Providing for the safety of any regular approaches over dock, wharf, quay, or other places which dock workers have to use for going for work, and fencing of such places or the projects. So it is related to the construction equipment, maintenance, etc. Now it is related to the fencing of these places. Then next one is providing for the efficient lighting. So lighting facilities, that is illumination facilities, especially it is required in the evening and night, because in the day generally a daylight is sufficient for these dock worker activities, but in the night the sufficient amount of light is required. Then providing the maintenance adequate ventilations, so sufficient amount of air, sufficient amount of provisions for the cross ventilation, etc., and with the suitable temperature provision should be provided at this dock. Then providing for the fire and explosion prevention protection, then providing for safe means of access to ships, hold, stagings, equipments, lifting appliances, and other working places, providing the safety of workers engaging in opening, closing of hatches, protection of ways, other openings in the dock works which may be dangerous to them, then providing for the safety of workers in docks from the risk of falling overboard, being struck by cargo during loading and unloading operations, providing for the construction maintenance and use of lifting and other cargo handling appliances and services such as pallets containing or supporting loads and provisions of safety appliances, providing for the safety of workers employed in freight container terminals and other terminals, handling unutilized cargo, then providing the fencing machinery, construction machinery, maintenance and use of staging, rigging and use of ships derricks, then testing, examination, inspection, certifications of the gears including chains and ropes, then precautions to be taken, facilitates escape of workers when employed in the hold, beam, hopper or like, or between decks of a hold while handling coal or other bulk cargo. Then some dangerous methods of workings to be focused while stacking, unstacking, stowing, unstowing of cargo, then dangerous substances handling procedures, then harmful environments and the precautions to be taken, then the part like cleaning, chipping, painting operations, precautions for these processes, then handling cargo, handling appliances, power operations, power operated ships equipments, doors, etc. Then transportation of dock workers, precautions to be taken to protect the dock workers against harmful effects of excessive noise, vibrations, air pollutions at the workplace. Then protective clothing should be provided, welfare facilities, washing, sanitary provisions should be provided, medical supervision should be provided, ambulance room, first aid, rescue facilities, arrangement for the removal of dock workers, nearest places of treatment, then safety and health organizations, then training of dock workers for the obligations of rights of the dock workers, then different occupational accident investigation, dangerous occurrences, diseases, specifying the diseases, some notices, forms, authorities, etc. So there may be a statements of accidents, man is lost, volume of cargo handling. So lot of things are given under this section 21, which is related to the power to make regulations. And that is why with reference to this section 20 and 21 specifically, the dock workers rule 1990s are made. So under this dock workers rule 1990, you can observe these points are elaborated in terms of rules, in terms of schedules, in terms of forms, etc. Right. So this is one of the important section, that is section 21 under this act. Then 22 is related to the general provisions relating to the rules and regulations. So we understand that appropriate government is going to make the rules and regulations, and after uh, going through all the procedures before publishment in the official gazettes, so all these provisions should be made with reference to this 22 section. 23 is related to the amendment of Act 9 of 1948, that is welfare wording related to that welfare, because we are focusing on the safety, health and welfare. In clause A, in clause G, the word and welfare shall be omitted, and B, clause H shall be omitted. Then 24 is repeal, and 25 is related to the savings. So all these 25 sections are there under this Dock Workers Act 1986. Now, with reference to this act, in the next presentation, we will discuss about the Dock Workers Rule 1990, which is prepared on the basis of section 21 of this act. Thank you.